Welcome to the Keychain Podcast, where every key tells a story.
I'm Matt.
I'm Mish.
And today we're giving you an inside look at the people, the partners, and the purpose behind the Matt Harnick real estate team. Today we're actually very fortunate to have a friend of ours and a lender partner and strategic partner. This is Chris Fretz with Movement Mortgage.
Hey,
Chris,
thank you for having me.
welcome to the Keychain.
Aw,
Thanks for being here today.
You need to shake out the nerves. You're
I'm
right.
a little nervous.
Everybody's always a little nervous, like we're gonna interrogate you guys or something.
Well,
Yeah, if you don't like the answers, no one ever sees this, so it'll be
Do you want me
fine.
to put a spotlight on you and really make it interrogation?
the miracle of editing.
Yes,
Absolutely.
We love it.
I compared it to we would watch This Old House with my dad as a kid, and he would always be like, "They edit out all the stuff that's hard."
Pretty much.
Pretty much. That's funny. My dad and I used to watch that show together too.
It's one of my favorite ones.
Yeah,
It's probably why I'm in this business.
might be.
Could be.
Could be.
You are definitely a problem solver, and you do take on the hard stuff.
You
I do.
We know this for sure.
100%.
They're all easy to solve.
Well, you sure about that?
Yeah, we get them done.
You do get them done.
You do
Yeah,
get
I
'em
will
done.
say that. You do get them done. Sometimes you got to circle, but you do get them done.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should we just dive in?
Let's dive in.
All right, go for it. Let's do it.
Perfect. So obviously, we know your name's Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Let's learn a little bit about Chris outside of what you do.
Okay.
So, what are your hobbies?
I know one.
I
Well,
know. I think.
I know Matt and I have something in common,
Yes.
a love for the beach and a love for the water, whether it's fishing or sailing. As long as it's warm, I try and spend as much time down at the Jersey Shore as I possibly can.
And when it's not, you go to Florida.
I go to Florida. That's a little more limited. So I would say, one of my biggest hobbies is my wife and I live in East Norton, and we bought a fixer-upper, 20 years ago now. So there's always projects that we're working on, updating different things, making it our own, living the dream of home ownership.
I love watching the updates that you guys have made.
We do okay.
Yeah,
That kitchen.
I know.
Mary.
Like stunning.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
You're
It was a long time coming.
Yeah,
We still have to pick a backsplash though.
that's little things.
Little
That's fine.
things. Yeah.
That's fine. So, how did you get into the mortgage world?
How did I get in mortgage? So a friend of mine's father was a realtor, and he became a lender later in his career. And right out of college, he was trying to convince me to get my real estate license. And in the course of talking through the real estate industry and his growth path, I finally was like, well, you're a lender. Tell me about that. So one thing led to another, and he introduced me to a colleague who brought me on board back in, it was the spring of 2000 that I started in the mortgage business.
Wow. So you've seen a lot of things in 25 years. The world's changed dramatically.
A lot has changed.
Tell us about that.
Well, one of the first things I had to do was we ripped pages out of the white pages. And I would call people and ask them what their rate was. And there were a lot of hang-ups, but eventually I got enough people who said, my rate's 8%. And I'm like, I can save you 1%. And, learned to do refinances, and then, learned how to build referral relationships with realtors and financial planners and consult buyers on, how to best qualify. And here I am 25 years later.
How many mortgage companies later? I'm just curious if you were to, it's a lot.
It's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of change.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I would say 2/3 of the moves I've experienced were outside of my control. It was a merger or an acquisition. But it's been a fun journey, and I've worked with, small independent mortgage companies. I did some hard time with a big bank, and I worked with Wells Fargo, which at the time, that was right after the '08 crash.
Yeah.
And they were the biggest ship in a stormy sea, and I was very thankful for the opportunity to close the business that I had, because there were a lot of companies who were unable to do anything at that time.
Wow. Yeah, I was just going to say, because, obviously between 2000 and now, it's like you rode the wave up to 2005, 6, 7, and then the crash of 2008, and then you
Yep.
came back, and then we had COVID. I mean, it's been a heck of a 25 years to be in this business, isn't it?
It is, and I think that the mortgage industry it's been very good to me historically, but it's 100% commission. So there are years where, you know, I've been very happy with what I've earned, and other years where you're like, that was tough.
That was tough. Yeah.
Yeah, not unlike real estate. No, I get it.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And I think that's a commonality, is that, you know, we're always out, you know, making new relationships, finding new people, helping them to make the best decision for them. And fortunately, you know, people, they don't like renting. And everybody, you know, they want to own their own space. So even when the market is challenging, there's a lot of folks who they're ready to do something, and we help make that happen for them.
Yeah. Help make it happen very well. I mean, you know, you and I have known each other now for, it's been, God, I want to see, like, what, 8, 9, 10 years almost?
Yeah.
Probably. Done a lot of work together, a lot of really good work since then. And yeah, that's one of the things that we can always count on Chris for. I mean, he's just his attitude, his, you know, can-do attitude, and being able to find, you know, the solutions. And, you know, what can be very, I mean, we're talking about, you know, personalities, we're talking about people's finances, and there's a lot of emotion that goes into that. And, you know, Chris has been able to successfully really navigate through a lot of that to find solutions, and we really appreciate it for you.
Oh, no, I'm happy to do it. I think the big thing is we try never to say no.
Yeah.
But there's situations where we say, you know, look, not now. And these are the things you can do over the next 6, 12 months to put yourself in a better position to move forward.
I was going to say that kind of leads into your focus of like buyer education, right? I know that's a big passion of yours, is making sure that the buyer is completely educated on the process, everything that's needed. What are some of the biggest myths that you hear?
I think there's the 20% down myth, which I know you guys have covered that before, so I just want to reinforce it that you do not need 20% down.
Let's say that again, just to make sure everyone hears that.
You do not need 20% down. Credit score, obviously, you know, the higher the credit score, the more options you have, but you do not need perfect credit, and most people do not have perfect credit. Everyone has something that they need to deal with, and it's surprising, you know, what we can do even in the low 600s.
I think that's one that I hear most often, is whenever people ask me about getting pre-approved and going through the process, they're like, well, my credit is crap. And I'm like, I understand. Trust me. I've been there. I was a stupid college kid. Stuff happened, but you work to get it better. And then you talk to Chris and he goes, this is good, but let's take care of this and this, and you'll be in a better position.
Yep.
So that in 6-8 months, you've got your best foot forward to be able to make that purchase.
Yeah.
And it's a big purchase. So you want to make sure that you are putting that best foot forward when you can.
Absolutely. And, you know, this market is such that it does take, you know, 2, 4, maybe even 6 months to find a home. So, so if you get pre-approved early, we can make some recommendations to improve that credit score, so we can update things when you find a home and the options improve.
And while we're on the current state of the market, let's just get the elephant out of the room, because I'm sure everyone wants to talk, not that we want to focus on that all, but rates and that sort of thing. Like, tell us what, you know, from your perspective right now, what's going on? What should people know?
First and foremost, there's no prepayment penalties for any mortgage program that the average person would use right now. So if you let's say you move forward and the rate's 6 3/4. I mean, you know,
historically about average,
right? Right.
You know,
so, and a year from now, rates have moved down to 5 3/4. Any lender is going to follow up with you to help you take advantage of that move down. And the costs to do a refinance are much less than a normal purchase transaction. So, you know, we're going to work with you to take advantage of any moves that come down the pike. And right now in today's market, I mean, I'm working with somebody right now who's at 6.375. They paid a point to get that, but we did the math, and it makes sense. It's a big move for them, and they're happy to do it.
Yeah. I think that's one of the myths that I think a lot of people talk about and they hear on the news is the rate in general, right? And they're like, well, are we ever going to go back down? How come, you know, a couple years ago it was that 2-3%, 6
COVID.
is really high.
Yep.
And I look at them and I go, have you asked your parents what the rate was when they bought?
17%, mom and dad. I know that. We've had that conversation.
Right. And I think my dad was like 19 or something. Like, have you asked that question and compared it overall?
Right.
And you're saying 6.3, 6.5, like Matt said, that's about the average. So if you're focused on that, that's not necessarily what you want to focus on.
Right. And the rates that were in the threes, I mean, they were forced that low
Yeah.
through, the Federal Reserve doing, quantitative easing and bond buybacks behind the scenes.
To get us out of COVID, basically. I mean, to get the economy started again.
Yep. And we don't want to go through that again. That was a lot of artificial effort to spur the market on. And it's not a good place to be.
No.
So I think
we don't have the inventory to support it anyway.
No.
I mean, let's just face it.
Yep. Yeah. So today's rates are they're as good as you're going to get today. And then, you work with a local real estate team, a local lender. We want to be your lender for life, and we're going to stay in touch and help you take advantage of anything that comes down the pike.
What do you think that there are? I'm sure in your experience, there's things that you could probably look at that a lot of buyers have done to hurt themselves in that process. Like, I mean, and I'm not talking just, although I know it does happen actually, like buying a new car 2 weeks before settlement. That's probably a little more obvious one. I'm sure you can explain why. But is there a theme? Are there things that buyers can do to self-sabotage that you would advise them staying away from?
I think when they encounter a problem and they try and solve it themselves, instead of just saying, hey, you told me to do X and I did Y instead. Like just work through it, because we are problem solvers at our core.
Yeah.
And we want you to have that house. We don't want to see you make a misstep. And you bring up the car thing. If you're driving a Honda and it breaks down and you go and get another Honda, chances are it's not going to mess up your approval. But if you decide, this is a great year, I deserve that Range Rover, that could have a massive impact because the payment is so much higher and it impacts your debt to income ratio, and really it can cause some problems.
Yes.
I could see why.
Mm-hmm.
I could see why.
Insurmountable problems, or are there ways to get around things like that if that happens to happen?
there's always a solution. Worst case scenario, we get a cosigner involved, or move money around. There's a solution to every problem, but obviously we would like the process to be as smooth as possible. So we start out with that initial approval, we agree to the plan, and you stay on that path from start to finish. And the goal, I always joke, my goal is to get invited to the housewarming party. And
stick with us, kid. You'll throw it.
Exactly. It's just we want to be a part of your life moving forward. We want you to reach out to us when you're ready for that next home, or you want to buy the second home in the Poconos or the beach. Like we want the financing to be fair. We want you to feel like this worked the way I intended it to. Because not everybody has, $500,000-$600,000 sitting in savings to go buy a house.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They need a mortgage, and we're here to help them get that.
Love it.
Absolutely. So I think some terminology clarification might have to happen, because I think people hear the words pre-qualification and they hear pre-approval and they think it's the same thing. Mm-hmm. And it's definitely not.
Right.
What's the difference between the two?
So a pre-qual would be basically a quick phone conversation, maybe a soft credit pull. We get an idea of what you could do if you wanted to move forward. Okay. A pre-approval is, doing the full credit pull, obtaining all the documents, running things past an underwriter if necessary. A pre-approval is if the listing agent picks up the phone and calls me and says, Chris, tell me about these folks. Mm-hmm. Like, I want to be able to say, I have 2 years tax returns. I have the W-2s. I have the most recent bank statements. Basically the only thing I need at this point is that signed agreement of sale, so we can move quickly. We could theoretically close quickly. We're not scrambling to obtain any documents.
Awesome.
And sometimes you are scrambling to obtain documents.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we actually closed a client more recently, and they moved into their first home. Actually, it's their second home. It's first home with us. And they're thrilled. And I don't know if we need to mention names. I know you probably know who we're referring to. Mm-hmm. And I know that you asked for a document, and like 5 minutes later, you got the document.
Right.
What kind of difference in your, I don't want to say enjoyment of the process, but I mean, like, what does that do for you to be able to just you ask for it, you get it 5 minutes later? How does that help? I mean, it helps you, obviously. How does that help the client enjoy it that much more?
Well, I think it's important to have that initial level of trust, because the rules are the same for everybody. Mm-hmm. Like I can't get around the documentation requirement because I like you, or because you're
it's nothing to do with it,
right? Like the rules are the rules. So
Yeah.
Right.
So we try and be very upfront and clear. These are the 15 things that you have to supply to us through the process. And if I pre-approve somebody in May and they go under contract in July, then the pay stubs for May are no longer valid. So
Right. Yeah.
So we just need a new pay stub. We need a new bank statement. Like it's the same things you sent us to get pre-approved. We just need to have them dated within 30 days of settlement. So the couple that you mentioned, I mean, they were wonderful. Like we had most everything we needed, submitted it to the underwriter. The underwriter says, here's your mortgage commitment. We need, updated pay stub, updated homeowner's insurance for the
Yep.
property. And we could, Summer, who's my processor, she sends a nice
We love
little,
you, Summer. We love you, Summer.
she sends a bullet pointed email of what we need. And the best thing people could do is just read it and give us exactly what we're asking for.
And my recollection is that they were actually cleared to close 2 weeks before settlement?
Yeah,
I mean, it was insane.
10 days.
10 days.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
And
Two business weeks.
Summer and I work together. Like our goal is to get that 8 to 10 day window, because if we do everything with the intention to be early,
Mm-hmm.
then if there's something unexpected, we have a couple extra days to deal with it. We don't have to change settlement dates. We can meet the timelines that everyone agreed to up front, which is so important.
And for these guys, because they were clear to close early, we were able to change the settlement date to
Yep.
earlier to accommodate for Matt, who left for Alaska
Right.
the next day.
The intended settlement date, we moved it up one
Yeah,
day, which
we
is
moved it
great.
up one
Yep.
day, but because Chris and Summer had everything done and we were good to go, we were like, hey, how'd you like to get in your new home a day earlier? They
And
were like,
by the way, Matt can be there.
yeah, it was,
I do not miss settlement. I do not.
No,
yeah.
No, don't want to.
that's
ever.
the best part.
And
right,
I will say,
exactly.
it's a 50-50 shot, right? Whether a lender will show up. Sometimes our title company will just do the documents depending on who it is, but I can always count on Chris to be there.
100% of the time.
Oh,
And he's always like, you want to go get drinks? You want to go get lunch? Like, it's always an event.
Yes.
Like, it's always an event, because I say it all the time that this is one of those pillar moments. It's one of those golden light balls from the movie Inside Out. You only get to do this a couple times if you do it right.
Yep.
So you want to make it like a big eventful day for them. And Chris is right there along for the ride. He's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
let's go.
Yep.
Let's make this all about them. This is an awesome opportunity. Sometimes it's a once in a lifetime thing depending on the house. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's fantastic that it's a party day whenever you're at the table.
Oh, no.
I love it.
We love it. And, the paperwork's complicated, so I like to be there to answer questions.
Sure.
They're the ones who have to write the check every month, not me.
Right.
So we want to be there from start to finish and make sure that everything about it feels good, feels right, feels fair.
It's funny because there's a lot of times where we'll have a new buyer that calls us and they won't have a lender recommendation or a lender partner that they're working with. And they say, can you recommend someone? And, we have, Chris is one of a pool of great lenders that we work with. And we always try to match up, whether it's from a personality standpoint or just from, other things, who would be a really good match for them. And one of the things that we love, working with you, one of the things that we love about working with you is that you bring such a, you've got a great sense of humor, but you also really have a really good feel for being able to know, the questions people should be asking and how to answer them. And, it's important that our clients out there know that it doesn't matter who the lender is that we recommend them for a reason. When we recommend Chris, we recommend him for a reason. The reason is because we've had settlements with him before. We've had clients that have successfully worked with him before, and we know that he's going to do what needs to be done to get you, the intended client and homeowner, to the settlement table. There's sometimes our clients come with a, recommendation from, some bank, and, no offense, some bank, but that we don't know, that we don't have a relationship with. We can't reach them during business hours or after business hours, and it gets uncomfortable because we're like, well, this is kind of why we recommended someone that we work with, because we know they'll answer the call when you call. So we want to thank you, obviously, for being that person. How does it feel when you get like a call from someone who said, Matt and me said I should call you, or when you get that?
Well, it reinforces that level of trust that I work to build, with you guys as referral partners, and I work to build it, with my clients who trust me to do the mortgage. It's knowing that they feel comfortable. One of the first things I say to people every time is that the only rule is that there are no dumb questions.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And trust me, I've asked Chris some dumb questions sometimes.
Well, listen, I've asked some dumb questions about real estate. I think, we get in our lane, and I'm very comfortable with what I do for a living, and I explain things the best way I know how. Yeah. But everybody processes things differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes, in a couple situation, like I might be dealing with, one person, and then they're recounting what we talked about that night at dinner.
Yeah.
And if the other party doesn't get it, or the whisper down the lane doesn't work, they just have to circle back. Yeah. And, like if anybody asked my wife about me, one of the first things she would say is that I'm not a mind reader.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to take time to explain something a second, third, fourth time, because you have to be comfortable with what you're doing and what you're capable of, because when that house actually presents itself to you, you have to move quickly. Logic kind of leaves the room, and now it's a very emotional decision. Like you love the house, you love the street, you love the garden or the sunroom, and if you're not 100% comfortable with what you can do financially, then doubt creeps in. And it becomes a more challenging decision.
Yeah. And
I think we work really well together, so that when that house pops up, and let's say you want your mortgage payment to be $3,000 a month, and no matter how we run the numbers, it's going to be $3,200. I want to be able to say, look, like we went through this whole thing, and you can afford a $3,200 mortgage, and there's more than $200 a month in improvements in this home versus anything else you looked at. So,
or if it's a hard stop, we all respect that.
Yep.
It is what it is. I mean, this is,
Yeah, and sometimes there is that hard stop, but we'd much rather you don't feel house poor when you go into a home.
100%.
And that comes back to that initial pre-approval, understanding what your needs are, what you're comfortable with, so that you're ready to move when the house presents itself.
Absolutely.
So when we talk about mortgage and lending, we always tend to go to the buy side, right? And that's our focus. I know that you've got some great things for some sellers who might have some equity in their home, or they need to make some changes, but they don't really know where to start, where the funds are coming from.
Yep.
Can we touch base on that?
So equity gain has been massive. I think anybody who's older, approaching or in retirement, chances are that the house is worth more today than they ever thought it would be worth. And if you're contemplating selling within the next 3, 5, 7 years, I would encourage you to look at the house and make some improvements now, so you can enjoy them. Yep.
Right.
And Matt and Mish could look at your house and say, these are the things that today's buyer wants, and you could tackle them today
incrementally.
Yep.
Yeah.
And do a little bit each year. So how do you do that? You could either do a cash out refinance to tap into a single lump sum, or you could do a
line of credit, or
a home equity line of credit.
Yep.
Sure.
which would give you access to funds. You don't have to tap into your retirement. You don't have to spend down your cash, and you could make those improvements today. And I think we've seen it. Today's inventory, if a house is, I call them the pretty houses. If everything's done,
Yep.
they're going really quickly.
Way over asking.
Yep, way over ask. Whereas if something's older, if it's dated, it might sit for a while. You might have to do a price reduction or two.
I like those houses, especially for our buyers that like them.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I would encourage you to look at that equity gain and say, all right, what can I do with that now? How can I tap into it? And it could be saying like, all right, I don't want to live in Bluebell anymore. Maybe I want to get a place in the Poconos or down at the beach, and we can tap into that equity to help you qualify for that next home.
Okay.
So I know there's one thing that we haven't chatted about that I think is super important, and this is about choosing your team,
Yes.
right? What do you have to say about that?
So my advice is to really listen to your agent, listen to who they trust in the local marketplace, because they do 15, 20, 25 transactions a year.
That's it.
And
No,
they maybe 50.
Yeah.
But they know who has a good reputation. Whereas the average homeowner, they're going to stay put for 7.5, 10 years, whatever the number is these days. You're not doing a mortgage transaction every other week the way a good realtor team is.
Yeah.
So listen to who your realtor recommends. By all means, do your own research.
Absolutely.
But there is value in that relationship. Versus going out on your own and finding something, say, online. I've always said the most important number on a pre-approval letter is the zip code of the lender. You want to make sure that they are
Yes.
local and accessible.
I've never heard you say that before, and
No?
I'm going to start using that more often.
Okay.
Because it's 100% true. The fact that I know that I can call you on a Saturday at 2 o'clock, as long as I know that it's not a fishing tournament weekend, I can get you right then and there.
And depending
if it
depending
is-
on the tournament,
and
we can
correct.
still answer.
And correct. If I know, I will say, oh, wait, he'll get back to me in about an hour because then he's got his break.
Yep.
But yes, I'm going to borrow that.
I mean,
Okay.
Chris, we know where you live.
That's
I've said
true.
this. I've actually said this before. In fact, in the letter, so when we put an offer together, and Chris has seen this letter, of course, he's copied on it like all of our other lenders. When I send a letter over to the listing agent, when we're submitting an offer, I explain, Chris is our local lender. Here's his phone number, mobile phone number where you can reach him if any questions. And we know where he lives. He will not disappoint us. And there's a joke in there, but it's true.
It is
Yeah.
true.
I mean, Chris, what the heck, man?
Yep.
No, we've never had to do that, but that's the
No.
point. We don't have to do that.
Yeah.
But you want somebody who has reputational risk in the local market. Like you guys are a big team. I do not want to let you down.
Right.
And I don't want to let you down as my client, but there's that partnership that we come back to all the time as we work through challenges, and we might have to shift from plan A to plan B or plan C,
Yep.
but we're always going to find a way to get it done.
And you always are proactive in finding plan B and plan C. I think that's what I love the most is I
Yep.
never have to question. Never have I questioned that this is going to close. It's just which path are we taking?
Yep.
And you're always up front with, hey, Mish, we got to switch. Or Summer will call me and say, hey, we've got to go from A to C for a moment, but I promise we're going to come back to B, but we got to go over here. And I'm like, take me down whatever little Wizard of Oz path you need to take me down. Just know that on XYZ, you guys are going to be here at the table. And she goes, oh, no, we're going to be there. We just kind of take a detour to get back to where we're going. I'm
Yep.
like,
And
perfect.
I'll give you a great example. So in this market with the bidding, going above list price,
Yep.
we always talk about covering an appraisal gap.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, every once in a while, we have to cover that appraisal gap. So I have one going on right now, and I talked to the husband, and I said, look, this is unfortunate, but these are the 3 ways we can deal with this. And he's like, all right, let me talk it over with my wife. And we did a call later that evening, and they were like, this is more than we expected, but we went over this when we were doing our pre-approval. We talked about it up front. So it was just a case of here's three options, A, B, or C, and we're moving forward and closing on time. So, it's all about that preparation and that
Setting
level of trust.
expectations.
Yep.
Yep. We do the same thing.
Yep.
I mean, it's so important to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could, like, every time I know we're going to be okay.
Yep.
Yep.
And that's so comforting, and I'm sure it's just as comforting for our clients, is that there's no question, and you're always there to come up with a solution.
Absolutely.
And work as a united team, because I think that's something we say often, but you used it as well. If you're not a united front and you're not a team working towards the same goal, then it's not going to be a good experience.
Everybody has to be rowing the same direction.
Correct.
The most challenging thing should be packing.
Wouldn't that be great?
That would be nice. All right, we're going to get into, I think, what everybody should know by now is my favorite part, which is our rapid question round.
Oh, boy.
Are you ready?
No
I
one
think
knows
so.
these questions except Mish.
Okay.
Ready?
Yep.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Early bird or night owl?
Early.
Favorite local restaurant?
Bluefin.
Ooh.
Sushi.
Yeah.
Hey.
Best sushi
I don't
ever.
think I ever knew that you ate sushi.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love it.
They're good. Plymouth Meeting. Or East Norton? It might be East Norton.
East Norton.
Yeah.
I say, I'm not a sushi person, but if you are, go check them out. Dream vacation?
Dream vacation. Probably European vacation, like somewhere in the Med. Charter a sailboat, Croatia. Or
Nice.
I'm getting older. These
Yeah.
river cruises, they're sounding better and better.
I want a river cruise so bad. I agree with, I mean, I would love to do one. They look so fun.
My wife is still, she would like to like hike in the English countryside
You're like,
or hike in Spain. So
You're like,
I'd do it
"Yeah."
for her.
That's sweet. That's
Hear
sweet.
that, Mary?
He'll do it for you. iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
No green texts with Chris either. There
Seeing
you
the
go.
trend. Podcast or playlist?
Podcast.
Okay.
Nice.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
We
Tucker.
love Tucker.
Tucker.
He's so cute. Go-to hype song.
Do you listen to music?
I do. I don't know. I don't know if I'd have a song. I'd probably say like Zeppelin would be.
Okay.
You know, like that's a good hype song.
There we go.
All right.
Yeah.
Perfect. Hidden talent.
Hidden talent. I do. I'm a big DIY guy working on the house. I really enjoy plumbing and electric.
Wow.
Really?
Uh-huh.
He's not for hire, though.
No,
Yeah,
no.
sorry.
And there is a line I won't cross, but need a new outlet. New lights in the ceiling, I gotcha.
I love that.
No electrical panels.
Yeah, my husband's terrified of electrical
Is
stuff.
he?
Yeah, he got electrocuted once. So
The
he
breaker's
won't do
there
it.
for a reason.
Yeah, he was jumping a car and and now he won't touch anything. It's fine. We got a guy for that.
We'll work on
It's fine. One word to describe yourself.
resourceful.
Ooh, I like that.
I like that one.
Yeah,
I would
good one.
second that. All right, as we wrap up here, we always ask this: what's one piece of advice that you would give your clients if you could only tell them one thing?
Just don't be scared to move forward. It's your house, it's your mortgage. We're here to answer your questions, make sure you're comfortable. You have a great team to help you make the best decision possible.
Thank you.
And the days of people getting talked into something that's not suitable are over. There's tons of regulations in place. We're gonna check in with you multiple times through the process to make sure that you're comfortable with what you're getting yourself into, and it's supposed to be fun.
Absolutely.
It should be.
So don't be afraid to move forward.
I love
like it.
that. Awesome.
Awesome. Chris, thanks for being here today. We
Hey,
really appreciate
thank you
it.
for
Thank
having
you
me.
You made
so
it.
much.
I know.
Yeah, are your jitters? You good?
I'm a little nervous, but I felt, it's, I guess, like getting approved for the first time to buy a house.
Yeah.
Right.
Little nervous, but you guys walked me through it.
I love it.
Well, to everyone out there listening, we really appreciate you checking on the latest episode of the Keychain, and thanks to Chris Fretz from Movement Mortgage. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye.
right. Take care. Thank you.